Then if we look at Middle East and North Africa, it's different again because you don't have as many manufacturing countries in the region, but you have diversification efforts and smart city projects in markets like Dubai and Saudi Arabia, which is going to drive demand for electric vehicles. Egypt has a national plan to support production of an electric vehicle and also incentivize consumers to buy locally produced vehicles. So we're starting to see standout markets in different regions. And actually something just today that I was told by a colleague in South Africa is that Ethiopia, which doesn't have very high levels of car ownership at all, is making electric vehicles much cheaper to import than other vehicles so that people will skip ahead straight to electric vehicles, very much like people did with cell phones. You know, they skipped having a landline altogether and went straight to having a cell phone. And that's what we're seeing with electric vehicles. So for emerging markets, it seems to be very different approaches to how they're being supported.
ولكن بالرغم من النمو القوي المتوقع في مبيعات السيارات الكهربائية عالميا إلا أن نسب الاختراق ستبقى منخفضة. ما هي أبرز التحديات آنا ماري التي تواجه سوق السيارات الكهربائية عالميا؟
So there are a number of barriers to adoption. Some depend on the market, some are universal. So particularly when we're looking at emerging markets, as we were just talking about, affordability is a big issue. You know, you have some countries where consumers just don't have the level of income required to afford these models. And particularly at the moment, you know, we have a period of high interest rates, high inflation. People are thinking more about their day-to-day living costs than buying new cars. So that's one problem. And also if it's a market where the government doesn't have the fiscal strength to provide incentives and other forms of support, they can't help out. Another major barrier is the infrastructure. And firstly, we're talking about the actual charging points, having enough of them to alleviate some of that range anxiety, but also the power supply. You know, are you in a country where the power supply is stable enough to be able to charge? You know, again, thinking about my colleagues in South Africa, they have rolling blackouts. That's not helpful if you need to charge an electric vehicle. And then I think another factor is just helping consumers to understand how this can become part of their day-to-day. You know, if you're very much used to just going to a gas station and filling up, suddenly you have to think about how you can fit charging into your schedule. So there are a number of different barriers, but they seem to be the main ones.